are told that our Senate is the greatest deliberative body in the world, okay? Well, they deliberated on some stuff leading up to these confirmation battles that have given us the administration that we have right now. And one of the big votes was for RFK Jr. It was pretty close, it was 52-48. Okay, he became Secretary of Health and Human Services, or whatever is left of that. And he got a vote from GOP Senator Bill Cassidy, who I believe is a doctor himself, if I remember correctly. Anyway, he was one of the Republicans who was considering voting RFK Jr. down. He had a little concern about the fact that RFK Jr. was not in any way qualified for the position. That was his minor little concern that he had with him. So anyway, he changed his mind at the last minute. And let's go back in time to what caused him to change his mind.
It confirmed he will maintain the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices recommendations without changes. CDC will not remove statements on their website pointing out that vaccines do not cause autism.
Will he though? Will he do that very specific thing that you said he would do? He's not gonna do anything crazy like nuke from orbit this advisory panel. That would make me look like a bit of a dumb donkey. Well, hee-haw, because that's what he did, okay? I mean, admittedly, he's already taken a lot of steps to shred the government's commitment to good science on the topic of vaccines, but no, he fired that entire vaccine advisory panel. The specific one that Bill Cassidy was talking about, he fired all of them, every single one of them. Now, this committee is important. They review data on vaccines, they debate the evidence, and vote on who should get shots and when. You kind of need that for people to get shots, but what if you didn't want people to get shots? What if you didn't want them to ever advise anyone to get vaccines because you were an absolute anti-scientific moron who doesn't understand how vaccines work and believes for whatever reason, probably because a worm munched on the good portion of your brain, that vaccines aren't real or whatever? Well, then maybe you just get rid of the entire thing, and that's what they did. And by the way, recently, that advisory panel, they worked on approving the rotavirus vaccine. That was licensed in 2006, and it has virtually eliminated 70,000 hospitalizations for severe diarrhea every year since. That's pretty severe. Diarrhea that puts you in the hospital. I don't want anyone to have that. Well, maybe like 2 to 5 people. Other than them, I don't want them to have it. And thanks to this vaccine, they don't. They also recommended an HPV vaccine, credited with slashing cervical cancer rates. Right's not gonna care about getting rid of that. They opposed it even when that was being approved. They also approved an RSV vaccine that caused hospitalizations in infants to drop. For now, God only knows what'll happen when they revoke that authorization. And so this is Cassidy's reaction to the news. Of course, now the fear is that the ACIP will be filled up with people who know nothing about vaccines except suspicion. I've just spoken with Secretary Kennedy, and I'll continue to talk with him to ensure this is not the case. Or let me translate that. Hee-haw, hee-haw. You still believe RFK? He lied to your face in that incredibly specific thing. But no, I'm still talking to him. He definitely won't do anything anti-vaccine. We're like 10 stories into that. Bill Cassidy, this is my early garbage person of the week. Sharon, what do you think?
Garbage, take out the trash. He reminds me of Susan Collins after voting no on impeachment. I think the president's learned his lesson, right? Really, come on. There was nothing ever said by Trump that he learned his lesson. They didn't show us anything that he learned his lesson. RFK has been living this lie forever. And they're also saying that the people he fired, they gotta go because they're in the pocket of Big Pharma. I'm beginning to think that really it's somebody else who's in the pocket of Big Pharma. Because if Big Pharma does not have to do what this agency says to do, they're the ones that say the booster shots, all the things you said. Once they make a recommendation, insurance has to cover it. And now they probably, will they do the right thing? Or do they really just want us to all just let the sick die off? Who cares? Yeah. We just want to take the premiums. We don't want them biting and barking and protesting and using their First Amendment rights. Let them die, let them get sick. It's craziness.
I mean, all the past sicknesses that RFK Jr. has contributed to haven't caused him to question his approach literally at all. Why would any more? Like, it's getting to the point when, like, I wonder, I don't know about Big Pharma. Does disease have a PAC? Are they funding RFK? Like the concept of disease and ailment, do they spend on buying politicians? Because I can't imagine why you would do this otherwise. Here's his explanation. We'll end on this. He says, RFK Jr., a clean sweep is necessary to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science. ACIP's new members will prioritize public health and evidence-based medicine. The committee will no longer function as a rubber stamp for industry profit-taking agendas. So I don't know if it's tomorrow or next week, but we'll talk about the people that they're gonna put on it, and they're gonna be absolute quacks. Probably some of them will have been in prison before. They'll sell sham snake oil on websites and everything. It'll be wellness people from Instagram or whatever. They literally won't have medical degrees, or if they ever did, they'll have been taken back by the boards that approved them in the first place. So guarantee that to you. But don't worry, Bill Cassidy's on the job.